2021 GSL Super Tournament Season 3.
All right, guys, we had Rogue demolish Cure 3-0. Honestly, it was not really close. I think Cure didn't even play poorly. Rogue is just really on today. And that's what it looks like when Rogue is really on.
It was a masterclass of ZBT.
Yeah.
That 95+ drone style in game 1 and game 2. I mean, you got to know that he's scratching his head about how to solve it, and then just go in there with a Roach Ravager timing and kill him.
I know.
Heartless, soulless play. But that being said, going to the second semifinal now, Solar versus Cure. Again, on paper, this looks like Solar versus Maru, excuse me. This looks like a pretty one-sided match here for Maru. I mean, the best Terran player all in Korea, but Solar kind of reinventing himself, going back to his roots, playing a really aggressive Zerg style all throughout this tournament. He 3-0'd Dream. His last series was also a 3-0. Neither of these guys have dropped a single map in this tournament.
Yeah, they're both looking on, and I mean that's kind of normal for Maru. He's just dominating lately in general, and obviously he's fought a couple guys that just came back from the military, so you know. But it's Maru, and he's a winner. He's a champ. So obviously the favorite, but Solar. This is an untested Solar right now for this match because he is. I think his mind is in a better place than it has been in years. And if he can play his strengths, I think he can make it a good series.
I got to agree with you. All right, here we go, the map list. We got Blackburn in 2,000 atmospheres, followed by Curious Minds, Glittering Ashes, and Hardwire. Really not seeing any Pride of Altaris this tournament.
No.
Honestly, it's one of the maps that I'm quite unfamiliar with, so I'm not really sure why people dislike it so much, but usually the way it goes, usually every map pool, there's some kind of map
there's
pool
always
really
an
want to play
insta
on.
veto map, man. Every map pool has one.
But yeah, interested in seeing how this series goes.
Shame of Altaris, more like.
I mean, there is a case to be presented for Solar. He's faced off recently against Maru, I think, in the last season of GSL, and he only lost that series 2-1, and they were pretty close games.
Yeah.
You know, and now that he's kind of coming back into his own, rediscovering his old aggressive style and finding success in it, I could see him taking more than 1 or 2 games, maybe even bringing this to match point against Maru. I mean, it's a new Solar we're seeing.
That's what I want to see.
Here we go, set 1 on Blackburn. Let's get to it.
Game start. KaiZ Gaming, Solar. Team NV, Maru.
What does Maru choose to go for? All right, Barracks over on the side here.
We've seen a lot of Terrans go for early Reaper play on this map. Not saying that Maru is going to do it, but it is one of those maps where that kind of thing is viable.
Yeah.
And that Barracks positioning has me a little bit
A lot of
curious.
forward barracks, though, for the Reapers, you know?
Right.
Like, down below the jump-in spot and stuff, I've seen a lot of people put a barracks there. That's that location a little bit different though.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing that. It seems like it is curious though. I'm not really sure what the advantage is in building the barracks over there by the refinery. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, my first instinct is that this is going to maybe be for an add-on that he's hiding, so that the Overlord can't poke in and see this, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, are you kidding me, Maru?
Is he gonna just insta expand right there? That's fascinating. I did not. This
With
is not something I expected. Reactored Marines with a gold base expand.
Huh. If anyone was going to take the gold base, I would have expected it to be Solar. Shows what I know, man.
I know, right? Well,
interesting build coming out here by Maru. I mean, he only has 1 guy on gas as well, so this is really mineral intensive. Second barracks going down too.
Okay, so very, very bio-heavy in this early game. I mean, I'm down. This is cool. And look, like, I guess if he rallies there, you know, we don't see Solar really doing anything to scout right now, so he may not even check the gold for a very long time.
Going up to 3 barracks now. There is an Overlord that isn't too far away from the gold, but I think he's just going to park it there.
Yeah.
Out of fear of roaming Marines, and we don't even have Zergling speed in the pipeline yet. Probably going to be started as soon as we hit 100 minerals, and there it is.
If he sees the transfer.
Oh! Make it look like an SCV all-in! Okay,
Yeah.
he knows.
Oh, he starts a spine.
Maybe he thought it was a fake?
Yeah. Okay, well.
Oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
He thought that Maru was faking it to the gold.
And he
cancels the hatch.
Okay, this is
that's
a train wreck, unfortunately. Look at this, 14 speedlings, 3 spines. Like, if Maru saw what was going on, he would smile so big right now. You could not, like, that is...
I'm just listening to the Korean casters right now, and I'm having a blast. This is the opposite of what you want to do against a Terran player taking a gold base right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, maybe, you know, his speedlings, he made a decent amount. He might be able to, like, go in, get a little surround, maybe force a lift off, make him go to the natural. No matter how you look at it, though, with that canceled hatchery, this is a Maru advantage.
This is a huge advantage. He's making more lings. I think he thinks that he kind of... He doesn't... He's building another spine.
He has no idea what's going on.
He still has no idea.
No idea. Okay, speed is almost done. Dude, Maru's trading, like, pretty darn well.
Right. If Solar had waited for speed to finish, he probably could have traded that much more efficiently, but... I wonder if Maru really is anything there at the gold base. This is a large number of Marines here in the middle.
Look at this, he's gonna check now. Let's watch Solar's face.
Well, I mean, poker face from Solar, but
yeah.
You know he's got to be scratching his head right now.
The fact that he didn't just, like, scream a profanity shows his professionalism because, like, everything has gone wrong so far. Now, a bunch of Marines getting surrounded here, so he's not going to get anything up to the bunker. Look at that. All right. This means a bunch of the depots could die as well. He's going to get some of these SCVs.
Kind of a misplay here by Maru, not really preparing any defenses there at the gold base. And Solar's going to try and ride this out. He's building a Baneling nest as well as going back on gas. He really wants to deny this gold base. More Ling production coming down. And, I mean, what turned out to be a hugely advantageous misread for Maru by Solar, kind of putting Maru on the back foot now. He just wasn't really prepared. He kind of got caught out on the middle of the map there. I mean, if he had 4 Marines move up to that gold base, this doesn't happen. Those SCVs are still mining. The bunker is defendable, and suddenly now we have a kind of tough situation. I do think he has combat shields and stim.
He
if I'm
definitely
not
has
mistaken.
combat. Yeah,
there we go.
Oh my god. Well, the Baneling's coming up. He actually gets some of the SCVs there. Good micro from Maru, as always.
Maru, one of the best in the world at focusing down Banelings.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of forcing this all back now. Still more Lings being made by Solar. Both these guys somewhat on their back feet.
Really an awkward start here to the beginning of this series.
Yeah.
2 medevacs coming out now. Was a little bit concerned about those Marines. One more stim is going to bring him down to quite low HP. That takes some pretty immaculate control. Yeah, you got to make something happen after you stim with that. Solar knows that he's going to run away. I mean, it's almost as if those Banelings got half-ass connections on the Marines because they're already so low HP. And
only he could get one more, but that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen on Creed. Actually trading quite efficiently, though. That's a lot of Marines, low HP Marines going down right there before the medevacs get out. And that's about the best that you can ask for there as Solar before Baneling speed. But now suddenly we have Maru back mining the gold base.
Solar has done some damage. Looks like that depot wall going to be made once again. Some more harassment. But a little drop here will clean those slings up. Force them back at least.
More Lings and Banes in production out of Solar. He wants to end this right now, it seems. He's only on 28 drones. He's got to make something happen. But this is a scary army by Maru, and I'm a little worried here for Solar. That's a tough position to break, especially with his control.
Well, the slow Banelings just don't have much potential here.
Needs to surround his dreams on these Marines to make anything happen, but Maru's just going to deny it, and that's going to be it. GG, really a wonky game number one there. Kind of both players getting thrown off a bit, but Maru with a really clever and unique opening, taking the gold base right from the get-go and going into 3-Rex Marine.
Yeah, a huge misread for Solar, unfortunately. If he had not canceled that hatchery
or built 3 spines,
and built 3 spines, like, the game would have gone on. It would have actually, I think, been a very interesting game because Solar almost made something happen there still, despite like one of the hugest misreads ever.
What a way to start things out here.
Yeah. All right, 2,000 atmospheres coming up next. We did see Kira go for the BC rush here. It is a great map for something like that. See if Maru wants to do the same. Maybe Solar has some aggressive intentions here. I hope he doesn't let that affect him too much because that was such a weird game.
I don't think he will. It's such an awkward way to start things out that you kind of take that and it's like, well, so many things went wrong that probably are not going to go wrong in that way again in this series or frankly in any series in the future. Just such a one-off game. I don't think he's going to let it affect him. I think just kind of going with a clear head. Still only takes 3 wins to win this thing.
All right. Looks like we are just about ready, guys. Let's see.
I'm curious what Maru has prepared for the rest of the series. That was such a wonky opening, you know?
Well, I think he's thrown out some red herrings for Rogue right now. Like,
what are you going to expect?
I think whatever we see here, that's not what we'll see if he plays Rogue, you know?
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Set 2, 2,000 atmospheres.
Game starts. KaiZ Gaming, Solar. Team NV, Maru.
Gas first for Maru. Okay.
Cool. I'd like to see him do something like a BC opener.
It would be fun.
Play like Maru. The greatest advice for Terran players. Oh, is your race hard? Well, there's a guy that still wins tournaments. Get out of here.
Reminiscent of Bjorn a long time ago, you know, when he was just kind of the only Terran player that was successful, but not only was he successful, he was dominating everything.
Yeah. It's always a funny argument.
Solar really on top of his scouting. I mean, he's kind of, I think, spooked out of that game. Game 1, Maru really showing that he's up to do anything. We've had some really fun gold base maps here in tournament. The ZVZ we saw earlier with 2 hatches at the same gold base.
I know,
which
that was
we're
such a weird game.
Probably never going to see again.
No.
And then Terran fast expanding to the gold and TVZ.
Yeah.
Just so bizarre.
A lot of weird stuff going down. I like it, though.
It's fun. It's one of the reasons why Super Tournament is one of the more enjoyable tournaments to watch because in Code S, there's so much preparation that goes into every single match. And here at Super Tournament, I mean, like right now in the finals, we're playing the semifinals and the finals the same day.
Yeah.
There's very minimal time to prepare for your future opponent.
Yeah, they have 12 minutes off in between to try to figure that out.
Devise a plan.
Yeah.
And I love the creativity that usually leads to. The games, they have their own little, they got a little bit more flair and style to them, a little more off the cuff, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
In StarCraft 2. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
I think that's part of the reason why we generally see Protoss do well in this tournament. This will actually be the first time in, what was it, four Super Tournaments that we haven't had a Protoss in the finals.
Yeah, 3 or 4 Super Tournaments.
Yeah, it's been a while, so kind of cool.
Just gonna be one Reaper here from Maru, building the command center and the reactor on the barracks. Everything kind of standard there. Starport going down as well. Kind of cookie cutter openers for everybody here after a pretty bonkers game number 1.
Nothing weird as of yet. We can still hope. Reaper just kind of jump up into the main base, get just a little bit of scouting, throw the grenade out, whatever. Get out of here. What are you thinking with this starport? I mean, he's got the second gas, so Banshee or BC?
I'm not sure. It's kind of tough to say.
Oh, a Viking. Oh, cool. Okay. Down for a Viking.
Maybe just Maru kind of gearing up for a solid mid game. He's one of those players who doesn't really need to do anything too out there to throw his opponent off. His fundamentals are so sound.
It's a really good point. Maru is such a full Terran. Once upon a time, you know, we could describe Maru and sum him up. It doesn't really work as well anymore because he's like the best at every single thing, right? So there is actually not a weakness to Maru.
I mean, armor.
His only weakness is that he's too strong.
I think we might be seeing. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be some kind of Hellbat timing, right?
Yeah, for sure. He's making the medevac to go with it right now.
Tech Lab even on the barracks. So that's what the Viking was for, to deny any kind of scout.
And you can always land the Viking to help out against the queens and stuff. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
Baneling Nest on the way for Solar, though.
Huh.
That's fantastic. If he has a few Banelings when the Hellbats come, he's going to do much, much better with it.
That's a fantastic potential response. We got 4 Hellion drop going to go towards the main base. 4 Hellions in the meantime coming over here to the third. A lot of queens, though.
You see the second factory?
Oh, are we going to see mech?
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Huh.
Ooh, I'm very interested in this to see which type of mech Maru wants to end up going for here. Is he going to go more of a battle mech? Is he going to, you know, do like a more old school style? We'll see. Now, drops off these Hellbats into the main base, will transforms them into Hellbats at least. Obviously, they have a hard time chasing things down, being one of the slowest, clunkiest units in the game.
They walk so funny, too. I love to see it.
They really waddle. They had too much for dinner. Watching them try to chase things is like, it's so comical.
I love this.
It's like, yeah, no, he clicked it away. You can't catch it. I'm sorry. That's it's just not going to happen.
The funny thing about them, too, is that, you know, 2 of them take up the full medevac. So, like, you go for this kind of switch.
Yeah, it was such a wonky fix to the Hellbat drops, right? To make it so that these are bigger than Hellions somehow.
They were so broken when they were happening before, you know? But it is funny now that, like, four Hellions enter, 2 Hellbats leave almost always with a medevac.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get left behind. In fact, all the way in the main base.
Look at this. It's not mech. He's going Drilling Claws at a very interesting time with... Yeah, look at that. He's going mass mines, and he's going into bio behind. Oh, this is so handsome. Maru's so cool.
This is gross.
That's another way to put it, yeah.
You're liking this, but... Oh, Widow Mines give me PTSD, man. I've lost too many mineral lines to these things. I'm worried about Solar, and these are Widow Mines with an armory, too, of course, so they're going to be even more problematic. Does Solar have does he have a lair out on the field yet? He should, right?
Yeah,
yeah, there it is. Okay.
Now, the Drilling Claws makes it so much more difficult. If you do not react instantaneously, you're going to take a ton of damage here.
Almost preemptively you have to react, but no drones getting pulled yet. Oh, my goodness. A little bit slow with a burrow on the last 2, but 11 drones with 4 mines. You love that.
Yeah, and
not
he is
even
not
done
either. Okay, Baneling Speed is on the way in a Hydralisk Den as well. We don't have 1-1 started on either side, which is notable, but yeah, Overlord Speed on the way, I think, just to help the Overseers go around and clear up these mines a bit quicker, a bit better.
In the meantime, another Widow Mine drop coming across the map as well. I think both of these got cleaned up. I don't think there are any Widow Mines in these medevacs above the main of the natural. I'm not too sure. Maybe we'll get a shot of that in the second.
He still has a medevac in the top right. I think it might have a mine or 2 in it, but I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, they burn so fast. Oh, those drones in the mineral line, they're so clumped up.
That, I mean, honestly, pretty good drop.
Whoa, that drone just flew over the cameraman. Another 12 going down, and suddenly what was a big worker advantage for Solar kind of getting wiped out. He is going to re-drone back to 70 there, but Maru got to be happy with his damage. And in the meantime, he's setting up for 2 factory. He's already got Drilling Claws on his Widow Mines, setting 6 more for 2 more drops.
Dude, he has so many barracks right now. Like, Maru really getting ready to macro out these Marines. 1-1 and combat shields on the way. He is behind as far as those upgrades go, but continuing to keep this pressure on. It looks like we're going to see Lingbane Hydra against just Biomine, which is something we were actually talking about in that last series.
Oh,
but
no.
Solar, is he in too bad of a position?
12 more drones going down.
Man.
It's got to be. We got to be over 30 at this point.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is wild.
No, he's lost so many. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Goodness. Luckily
So
killing
greedy.
that one.
I love the level of greed. It's just absurd.
It's not over. It's been like 5 minutes of nonstop Widow Mine drop action. And it just takes one slip up and we have another one there. Now finally 23 drones going down after all these drops.
47 drones
47
killed.
drones.
God. Doesn't it always feel like when you're watching Maru that Medivacs and mines don't cost anything for him? Like
They're just expendable.
He will just do it nonstop. I've seen it against Protoss. I've seen it against Zerg.
Here we go again.
He just doesn't care. He'll just do it forever.
Well, it's cost effective. There's no reason to stop it as long as you're getting these trades. And on top of this, it's allowing him to fully macro up. You said it earlier. He's got all of his barracks up. He's got his third base. There's been no pressure on his side of the map whatsoever because this entire time, the past 5 minutes, Solar's just been kind of scrambling to deal with this. And finally, the Hydralisks are out now. They're kind of going to put a stop to this thing with all these Hydras and Queens. But, man, what a headache this has been.
Yeah. Okay. Clears that one. I think the mine drops are over.
The problem is, though, that's 170 supply of bio with drilling claw mines moving across the map. This is gonna be tough to deal with, to say it lightly.
Yeah. Well, he's got to hold this. This is the first of many tests for Solar if he wants to win this game.
Pretty good connections.
Not bad. Not bad. He has a backup, I think, at this point. Picks off a little bit extra there with those Hydras. Going to pull back now.
Always favorable when you can make those trades happen on creep. Got a little bit more bang for your buck with those banelings.
Not a lot of supply right now for Solar. He is relaying a lot of this creep.
And no banelings on the field either. I'm not sure how many are being morphed right now. Okay, 11 cocoons just started. That's problematic because without those banelings to clear the Marines, this army for Maru has so much punch.
Yeah, the damage output is just too high for Ling Hydra to fight alone, I think.
You need big connections.
Yeah, let's see what he gets here. The mines are in there as well.
Oh, fantastic splits there by Maru.
Yeah, good mine hit as well in there. Looks like he will hold, but look, the Hydras do push everything back, and this is something we were talking about. It is really hard to play this comp against Lingbane Hydra. The Hydras don't care as much about things like mines.
And their DPS is also really high in the back, as long as they're kind of shielded by the Lings and the Banelings.
Yeah.
They're able to just really good damage, and kind of a nice little flank right there by Maru coming from the side. Not really getting too much done with it.
Cleaning up, though.
Right, this two-prong attack is really proven tough to deal with here for Solar, and it's having the benefit of keeping the creep spread completely contained. If you go back and remember those two fights that happened earlier, the ones where Solar was trading a bit more efficiently on both the third and the fourth base, that happened largely because of the creep spread. It gave the Banelings the extra speed boost they needed to get on top of the Marines. As long as Maru can continue to trade kind of cost efficiently and keep the creep spread contained, if the creep spread is contained, it almost becomes impossible for Solar to take favorable fights, even at his bases. The defender's advantage is almost moot at that point. You see only one tumor really extending kind of far here, and suddenly this angle now with minimal creep spread is so tough to push in for Solar. I'm not sure he's going to be able to deal with his max Maru army from this point.
Well, he's getting lurkers now, okay? So here's my thought for Solar. Right, he needs to hold on for another minute here, not really taking any more damage. But one thing that people have to remember, like we saw Rogue play ZVT one way, right, where he got a way bigger economy, he flooded nonstop. Now Solar's been on the back foot the entire time. That does not mean that he's dead. Like I think Maru's gonna win. Maru's definitely ahead right now. These things are true, but if you play Lurker Viper, that's a very efficient composition, and you can grind out wins with that. So if he can hold on a little bit longer here, really get his numbers up on the Lurkers and the Vipers and plays a solid game, it's going to be hard for Maru to finish him off, and maybe he can push back.
It's certainly possible, but it's going to be an uphill battle, especially with these trades coming down. Maru with kind of an overwhelming supply advantage right now, going all the way up to 180. But as you said, if Solar is able to stabilize and fill out this tech tree, but the real concern for me right now is this creep spread. And oh no, it just keeps getting worse.
No, he needed those to stay alive. Okay, I think that's the backbreaking moment. Here's the thing. Like, I think Solar, like, obviously he's desperate for another base. He's trying to push out to connect, right, and save this base. But losing 4 or 5 lurkers, like, he must retain Lurker Viper, and he must gain value with Lurker Viper if he's going to win this game. We don't see that right now.
Going down to 3 lurkers is just
3 lurkers is no lurkers. Like,
there's no units here.
Yeah,
that's a dead base.
No, I think that's it.
This is the kind of style that I feel, if Maru is able to make it to the finals, can fare very well against what we saw earlier. This kind of high octane, heavy Widow Mine, heavy bio, constant pressure, denying creep spread playstyle. It goes so well, not only against what Solar is doing, but just in general in TVZ. It's such a difficult way of playing this matchup, but if you can do it right, it is so effective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it, I think, will come down to what those early games look like. Obviously, Maru had just an impeccable early game here with all those mine drops, getting about 50 drone kills very early on. Solar, like, still in the game, right? He's still got a decent amount of workers. Losing that base was really painful. Losing any lurkers here has been painful. I think he has 0 chance to do any sort of countering, so that is definitely not something I want to see out of him, but yeah, let's see if he can even hold on here.
That is a really nice arc there by Maru, really mitigating the damage coming in from those lurkers, and that's another 4 or 5 going down, plus all those queens.
Beautiful, beautiful spread. Great snipes in there as well. Picks off the hatchery. I think that's, like, Solar just doesn't really have a shot at this point.
It's just such a grind. Maru's almost playing this the same way that we saw Rogue play against Cure, kind of a role reversal, you know? The Terran's the one that's kind of doing this non-stop pressure, non-stop contain, and just overpowering with his economy as he goes up all the way to 5 bases.
Well, if you're this good, like Rogue and Maru are, what a great way to play. You're in so much control.
And it's worth noting, too, that Maru was able to get all of that damage done and kill yet another base while making a tech transition into Liberator Ghost. That's usually the kind of window where you would need to ease up on the pressure at least a little bit, but he was able to continue to find damage, even making that big investment into these higher tech units. And now that they're out on the field, that is a lot of ghosts.
Yeah. Even yoinked in the Liberator and still lived and walked away. There's just not anything left here. GG. Maru takes a 2-0 lead, playing very differently in the 2 games.
Really fantastic playstyle as we're seeing out of Maru. Kind of showing some brilliant prep going into this. I mean, the Widow Mine bio style that he kind of went for there in game 2, he got to it in kind of a funky way. I loved it, though, with all the Widow Mine drops, but that is his bread and butter. He is so good at executing that. Set up kind of 2 outposts with Widow Mines and bio on 2 sides of the map and contain the Zerg, deny any creep spread. Brilliant gameplay out from Maru. He's looking to be unstoppable. And Solar, I mean, credit to him. He almost made that a game after losing, what, like 50 drones in the early game?
No, it was a lot. And he got up to the lurkers and he got up to the Vipers, and he did, you know, I think he did a reasonable job, but he kind of overextended. He was moving a little bit too quickly at that point. I mean, you got to work with what you have, and he didn't have a whole lot.
Always happens when you lose 50+ drones.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm playing on the ladder, I wish I could build probes that fast.
I know.
Because I usually lose about the same number whenever I play against that strategy.
No, when the 12 probes die to the Widow Mine drop, that's it. the game has certainly ended at that point. Solar, though, really making it go on for a long time. Can he take a map against Maru, though?
I think that he can. If he can avoid taking too much damage in the early game, I mean, the way that these first 2 maps have went, in game 1, Maru busted out an insane strategy going for the gold and 3 racks Marine. And Solar just read it completely wrong. He kind of mind-gamed himself where Maru kind of misplayed and showed the SCVs transferring to the gold, which should have telegraphed what he was doing. But Solar kind of got in his own head and thought that was a fake. He thought that, oh, you're pretending to go to the gold, but you're actually coming in with an all-in. Builds 3 spines, cancels the third base. He ended up canceling, I think, 2 of the spines, but at that point, the opportunity cost of those is so great. And you built all these Zerglings, and then you have Speedlings and slow Banelings trying to find damage across the map. I mean, that game was lost right from that misread. And then in game 2, all those Widowmines come in, and he just wasn't ready for it. He lost 50-plus drones, and he still kind of made a game of it. So I feel like Solar, his play, he kind of got off on the wrong foot in both map 1 and map 2, which is really unfortunate because of how rock solid he's been in Super Tournament so far. But I feel like if he can get to the mid-game without taking too much damage, without getting a wrench kind of thrown into his strategy, I feel like he has a chance to at least take 1 map off of Maru, if not more.
I definitely can't deny that, but that's the problem, right, is getting there. Maru is so impeccable in every portion of the game that it seems impossible to not take damage unless you are probably Rogue, really, right? Like that's the one guy that we can really see doing that against Maru, but Maru, obviously, he's showing a wide variety of strategies so far, and if he is to finish Solar off here, he's going to have to play Rogue minimum 4 games. So what's he going to use? Is he going to hold anything back for Rogue? Maybe that's somewhere where Solar can get an edge too.
I think if you're Maru, you don't want to hold anything back. I think you want to go for the killing blow right now, because the more games that you play against Solar is more information that your opponent is going to have on you in the finals.
That's true.
So maybe we'll see something kind of similar to the last game, where he just kind of tries to grind it out and use his superior mechanics, the kind of play style that makes him the best Terran player in the world, and just get a really solid victory and then save all the good stuff for the finals, you know?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Set 3 on Curious Minds. Maru looking pretty unstoppable.
Let's do it, guys. See if Maru can 3-0 Solar, starts to come back.
Game start. KaiZ Gaming, Solar. Team NV, Maru.
All right. Kind of excited. Like, whoa, what's Maru going to do this time?
I think he's going to kill him.
Yeah. That was such a cool double factory opener. So I was like, oh, is this going to be mech? And then it was just, oh no, I just want to get a lot of mines. It's like, wait, what's the Hellbat push doing then? He's like, oh, it's just going to keep him busy for a second so I can get this engine going.
So I can get more Widow mines.
Damn, dude, that's super cool. I love it, like the very best players in the world. It's like they look at the game very differently from everyone else.
Right.
That, like, how many people actually will do non-stop Widow mine drops? And this has been Maru forever, too. Like, I remember him back in Heart of the Storm doing this against Protoss players. I remember this one game against Myungshik, where Myungshik went mass Phoenix, and Maru just dropped, like, 30 to 40 mines in a row on him. And it was like...
Against Phoenix?
Yes, of course, against Phoenix. It was insane. Like, I think about that game all the time, so, because I'm like, I just don't even get it. Like,
how does that work? How does that work?
It's because he's Maru. That's how it works. But
I love it because it's such a great way of getting to that mid-game composition that works so well for him. In so many of Maru's games, it goes to the same kind of fundamental playstyle in the mid-game, where you have 2 balls of bio on the 3rd and the 4th base of the Zerg. You set up outposts with Widow Mines, and you just try to trade. You just try to kind of erode any kind of advantage the Zerg can have while denying the creep spread. And once the creep spread is gone, it is so much more difficult for the Zerg not only to get onto the map to take another base, but also to take any kind of favorable engagements. And at that point, if you've played it well enough, which is not easy to do, it's one of the most difficult TVZ playstyles I think there is in the game today. But if you're able to play that style and make it work, you usually get to a point where you just have an overwhelming bioforce that can roll over everything.
Well, he definitely did do that. Solar like kind of started to hold though. If he could just like stem that type of damage a little bit more, you know.
I think he's gotta tighten up the early game a little bit. It's been really a sticking point for him in Game 1 and Game 2 so far this series, but not quite the craziness coming out of Maru so far. A little bit more standard this game with this opening.
Oh. Is this a 2-on-1, you think? Like 2 barracks with stim going up to medevac really quickly?
It could be.
You know, that kind of build from 2016, that was all the rage. Don't see it as much anymore, but occasionally.
We've seen Cure do kind of the same thing, though, also. In earlier games in TBZ this year, we've seen Cure go for a 2-on-1 with kind of the same set of units. We're not actually seeing any Hellions coming out of that factory, just using it to make the reactor. Okay.
So yeah, definitely going to be some quick medevacs coming out here with these Marines.
Right. Fast him as well. And these kind of attacks always have potential to do a lot of damage. And I love them because if things kind of don't go your way, you have medevacs. Just get out of there. It's nice.
Yeah, not much Zerg can really do to punish that generally. All right, Reaper does get all of the way home. Baneling Nest is on the way. Not that scary for Maru, though.
No, if anything, this is probably going to be just to defend, really.
Yeah, and honestly, he's kind of doing the right thing anyways. He's getting enough queens. Generally, against this type of build, you want, like, what is it, 7 queens was the standard for a long time, plus 1 evolution chamber getting the carapace upgrade. Obviously, things have evolved a bit since then. Baneling Nest is not really something that's going to be that useful here, I would say.
But it's hard to also get a read on what the Terran player is doing, and Baneling Nest is just kind of something that eventually you're going to want no matter what. I mean, we saw how effective Banelings were in that first series we played today. 95 drones and Baneling armies still completely wiping the floor with Terran. But as it is right now, Solar, I think he might have actually caught that with, yeah, he definitely knows what's going on right now. And
a lot of lings being made.
I love this positioning by the Queens, too, trying to catch the medevacs if they can.
Yeah, and the creep getting up to that high ground, I really like that as well. So he kind of has this road up. You're playing against a dark high ground, it's so difficult.
Maru's going to want to kill that tumor right away, I would think.
Well, Queens want to snipe a medevac, so he's kind of saying, all right, come on. Oh, those links got to get into the main base. Here we go.
Oh, I'm surprised they weren't here already.
A little bit slow on that one.
Queens coming in from the low ground, though, getting some damage in. One of the medevacs going down to half HP.
Hey,
3 lings go down. Yeah, pretty immaculate defense. Not really losing anything.
Yeah.
Huh.
And look, his evolution chambers are only seconds behind the E-base, so that's pretty solid as well. Baneling speed on the way now.
Yeah, I'm liking this setup from Solar. I feel like this is the kind of deflection of early game harassment that he needs.
Yeah.
To get into a powerful mid game against Maru. I feel like if Solar can keep this up and just kind of execute his game plan, he can really make this a tightly contested match. It's one of the reasons why going into this series, I thought it was going to be more close than like a 3-0. I thought it was going to be a 3-1 or a 3-2 at best for Maru if he was going to take it.
Maru's going to force a cancel on the 4th base, so that's a nice moment for him.
In the meantime, Solar is actually going for a pretty big counterattack here, and there's no supply depot on this wall. My goodness, getting a full surrounding on the siege tank. Marines and SCVs going down as well. This is a really successful run by. Oh, even the getting into the main base.
Oh my god.
Maru slipping up a bit. A little bit of an uncharacteristic mistake, and this is becoming problematic in a hurry. The Marines are trying to race all the way back home to salvage the situation, but 18, 20 SCVs going down right now. He's going to get another siege tank.
Huge moment for Solar. This puts him at a gigantic advantage.
This game's just kind of turned on its head in an instant.
He is so far ahead right now. Look at this. More lings hitting this 3rd base. More SCVs going to end up falling here. Has to run away, lift up that 3rd. He's got 1-1 finishing up and getting a Hydralisk. Like, I mean, this looks amazing for Solar right now.
He needed this too. I mean, this is a huge momentum swing.
Now, if Maru finds a way to win this one, then he's actually a witch.
Should burn him at the stake or something after the finals.
We got to throw him in the water and see if he floats. Like, that's because this is such a dominating advantage for Solar right now.
Right, even Zergling or Baneling speed is finished. Oh, actually a nice surround there. Gets a couple more Marines than he should have. And Solar, I mean, he's producing a lot of lings, a lot of Hydras. He knows he did huge economic damage there to Maru, and He just kind of wants to compound this lead a little bit. And one of the big boons from that kind of goes unspoken is also this gives Solar free reign to just kind of take the map, spread all the creep that he wants. Maru just really on the back foot right now. I'm not sure what was going on with that missing debuff with the natural.
Well,
it's gotta hurt.
He had the third CC as part of the wall, and then he lifted it to send over, but he never filled it in. So, I mean, that counterattack from Solar, he hit his stride. I mean, there you go. That's the aggressive type of play that we were talking about before with him. Damn, good transfuses. All right.
I'm surprised he only lost one queen here. I thought a lot more were going down.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be left with one yellow queen walking away.
This creep spread's almost at the natural of Maru. He's like 3 tumors away, man.
Yeah. Comes up once again, targeting down as many tumors as he can. Of course, the Link Pain going to force that all back very quickly. Maru sees those Hydras. He does have a second factory on the way. And I definitely cannot blame Maru for going into like a 2-factory siege tank here. I believe that's what he's going to be doing. Because if he wants to win this game, this feels like a game you have to really grind out if you have any chance. Like, he's so far behind.
You got to find a way of getting up to max.
Yeah.
And trading as cost efficiently as possible. And oh my god. Incredible Baneling drop there coming in on the side from Solar. Gets another 14 SCVs. Solar might be rivaling Maru's worker kill count from the previous game. It's
actually,
kind of absurd.
You're actually quite right about that.
This guy's just going blow for blow, really, in this series. I'm liking this from Solar, man. I want him to build up some confidence for the rest of this series because I feel like the games that he's been showing so far in Super Tournament, it's really kind of like a renaissance Solar. He's going back to his roots. He's playing really aggressively. Maru kind of stifling that in Game 1 and Game 2, not really letting Solar show what he's got. But if he can kind of ride this momentum carrying on in the series, I mean, he's in a dominating fashion right now. This game is not over yet, but that's a lot of Banelings morphing in. Solar is kind of gearing up for an attack that could prove to be really devastating.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to hold on against, but you know what? There are siege tanks being made. He's adding some Liberators. If I had to guess, those are actually going to be for some harassment. So I think Maru can't help himself but to try to get something else done on the map while this is happening. Just defense alone is not going to be able to win you this game. But yeah, Solar is he's maxed, so it's about time to attack, I guess.
Attack should be coming in soon. In the meantime, taking more bases is Solar. Maru's been doing a really good job of keeping this creep spread back, though. It really hasn't moved in the last couple of minutes, and that's going to help him defend this incoming attack as best as he can, but that's not a lot of bio. Really great siege tank spread there, though, as the Zergs are moving in. A lot of Banelings coming in, connecting on the siege tanks. Going for the mineral line as well. Huge damage coming in here. Maru pretty much getting wiped all the way down to nothing. I think one siege tank left, and that's going to be it.
All right.
Solar just right in that huge advantage he got from that Zergling run by into a pretty clean win.
Well, that is a great moment for Solar, right? Like, he did that Zergling counterattack. That is exactly what he was talking about in earlier rounds, and you were talking about in earlier rounds about trying to get some of that aggression in despite the fact that he's defending across the map. Also, we should note that the build Maru used, occasionally we see it do all right, and I mean, once upon a time, that was the meta. Like, that was the best opener in Terran Berserk, but not so much anymore, and it definitely was his weakest opener so far, right? Like, he really didn't get anything done with it.
I've got to agree with you. Not too much damage getting done by that, but still this series, the way it's been going, it's tough to really get a read at where these players stand relative to each other. You know, every single game has been wonky. One player's gotten a wrench thrown in their gears every single time. Let's see what Set 4 has in store for us here on Glittering Ashes.
Game start. KaiZ Gaming, Solar. Team NV, Maru.
Gas first opener again for Maru. Okay. The one time he went gas first, it was that double factory opener, right?
Yeah,
that was
I believe
the game.
so. That was actually my favorite so far here from him.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. I don't know that he'll do the same type of thing again.
It's probably Solar's least fun one. It's
Yeah.
probably his least favorite game.
I mean, losing 50 drones at the beginning of the game is... No one enjoys that.
It is, though, really tough to gauge where these players stand because we haven't gotten into a mid-game on even footing yet in this series. True. Game 1 was just absolutely bizarre with that gold base and then Solar building 3 spines and canceling his hatch. In Game 2, we had 40, 50 drones go down to Widow Mines before like the 8 or 9 minute mark. In Game 3, we had a depot missing from a wall and then a depot down in the main.
Yeah.
A lot of workers going down for Maru.
Well, you know, actually, here's just like a thought. See what you think about this. But I think the statement of like even in the mid game can be a little bit deceiving. I think if neither player takes any damage and we hit mid game, Zerg is a little bit ahead.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So it's really tough to say exactly what would be considered an even mid-game where both players have equal chances, because I think that does involve some drone death and whatnot, you know?
Absolutely. I guess what I'm going at with that is the way the games have started have been so one-sided. It hasn't been like we had a Widow Mine drop that came in or a Hellion run by or Hellbat Marine timing that did like a substantial amount of damage, but the game is still playable. It almost feels like every single game was decided so early from some kind of devastating play. And it's just, oh, this Reaper's so annoying.
Yeah, he's gonna make it finish. If you pop off there, he's standing so close to the extractor.
What?
Oh,
how did that happen?
Huh. Okay. Never mind.
I didn't know that was possible. I thought the Reaper would be blocking the.
Yeah, no, I thought he was. I thought he was standing in a good position for a block there, but okay.
Interesting. I'm thinking back in the games that I've played, and if that was an SEV and I was trying to build a gas there as a Protoss, it would not go down.
Yeah, I know,
Not in a million years.
His shoulder pads are too big. He can't get close enough. All right, so a couple mines on the way right now. Starport as well. It's just a single factory. We got to assume that this is going to be a mine drop, but obviously not a drilling clause one.
Definitely not a 2-fact Widow Mine drop like we saw in game number 2, but I like this from Maru. I feel like we're probably going to see Widow Mines continue to be mixed into the mid game and maybe some more two-prong aggression. Glittering Ashes does seem like it might be a little bit fortuitous for that strategy. There's quite an opportunity for the Terran to maybe get some creep spread denied over here by this third base and then the fourth to the north. Curious to see how Maru decides to play it out.
I kind of like the amount of pressure he's putting on with so few units right now, just kind of keeping the attention of Solar over there.
It is nice.
Yeah. Armory is on the way right now. So I guess he can still have the mines cloaked, which is kind of nice. Maybe utilize some Hellbats, we'll see.
Could also be to get +1 weapons for siege tanks. He's making that.
Oh, that would be fascinating. If he were to get that upgrade right away, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, but not throwing down more barracks makes me think that's probably not what we're going to see.
Second factory.
Huh.
Yeah, not sure exactly what we're...
well, these are cloaked mines now. And there's no spore crawler, so this mineral line is...
Oh, that's so annoying.
Pretty much gone.
Yeah, he is making a spore over to the right, so... Okay, this is actually dealt with well from Solar, I would say.
Yeah, that was a pretty clean defense.
Yeah. Just gonna pop that over there.
About as well as you could expect, really.
A little Viking coming up across the map. What's that Viking gonna do?
You try and push away some of these overlords. The Queens, they kind of have to be here at the front to deal with all of this, and maybe also deal with this Widow Mine over here in the mineral line, so perhaps trying to find some damage, but we're really not getting that much done here with these Widow Mines.
Not too much.
But it's going to be Drilling Claws again. Factory.
Okay, but a very different opener, right? The first time we saw like the Hellbats kind of buy a little bit of time, and then he came in immediately with Drilling Claw ones. But this is in many ways like more tricky because you're doing slow Widow Mine drops and then Drilling Claw Widow Mine drops like much later. That's weird.
And the Widow Mine drops are coming in with close, but actually these Hellions are getting way more value than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Some really fantastic positioning, and this SimCity actually working to the detriment of Solar to quite an extreme here, as almost every single Zergling goes down and 2 Hellions and 1 Reaper still alive. Gonna go all the way into the main base and maybe get a couple more drone kills. Just 1.
Yeah, not so bad.
It's a nice trade though.
I think it was reasonable. Okay, I'm ready for the mass Widow Mine drops now. Look at how many mines he has.
It's a lot of Widow Mines. Reactor Starport as well. There's to be.
You need a lot of medevacs.
Yeah, he's got 2 Widow Mines in that drop from before as well. All the way there behind the main base. We might see a triple prong cloaked Widow Mine drop with drilling claws.
Yeah, yeah. There's the potential for a lot of drones to go down here. Yeah, 66 against 53 workers at the moment.
9 Widow Mines, 3 Marines. The ratio's fantastic there. A lot of Queens, but they're on move command. They're not going to get any damage done here on this medevac, and these Widow Mines popping off and getting huge damage.
Oh my god. Doesn't get that one burrowed, so a little bit of a mistake.
Those 16 drone kills in that 1 mineral line, though, are just devastating. That's so much damage.
Yeah, definitely worth once again. Ties up that worker number. So Maru landing his 3rd CC.
Oh, this hurts so much. The units, there's too many. 9 more drones going down. There's a bottleneck there at the main base ramp, and these Widow Mines just getting so much value. This one also off cooldown. Going to be dropping here in the 3rd base. Medevac will fall. A little bit of clean defense here by Solar. Of course, taking some damage there on the Queens, but they don't mind that too much with their transfuse.
Come in once again. Another drop going down.
Defense actually a little bit better. The initial drop there at the 3rd that got, what, like 13 kills?
Yeah.
13, 16 kills. That hurt a lot. But besides that,
much better defense than the previous time.
Absolutely. Much better. And actually going into Spire is Solar.
Yeah, very different from him. I'm kind of excited to see that instead of the Hydralisk base play.
I'm trying to think back to game 2 in terms of how long Maru really stuck on the Widow Mine drops, because maybe part of this is just shutting down these medevacs because they've been such a thorn in his side.
Yeah, maybe. He's actually making a lot of turrets right now, so definitely has a good idea that mutas are incoming. Oh boy.
Oh,
a
man.
lot more.
A little bit fortuitous for Solar, one of those Widow Mine shots going into the extractor and not actually connecting with anything, but that Widow Mine right there, barely out of range of that big clump of drones, only 8 going down. Still a better defense than last time. Might have to manually detonate these Banelings and, oh no, Overseer's coming in.
Gets there just in time. We'll blow those up.
One Bane still going down, but
you know what? It looks to me like you were right that these mutas are more for shutting down the medevacs because he's throwing down a Hydralisk Den.
And the amount of resources also spent into missile turrets because Maru doesn't quite know how many he's going to commit to. Oh, jeez.
Just doesn't end.
Finding value every which way. 3 more barracks go down for Maru, so he's really powering up.
He's making 2 more turrets, too. Like, he has made a serious amount of missile turrets at home.
These Mutalisks have almost paid for themselves in terms of the resources Maru has had to invest in defense for a potential huge muta switch. But fortunately, out of position for this drop, and does Solar see it? It doesn't seem like it. That's going to be another really big hit.
Unfortunate for Maru, he hit an Overlord with that, but still gets 10 drones.
How many have gone down this game, man? It's been a lot.
All right, does end up losing that medevac. Forces a cancel there on the 5th base, but Solar has 4 bases. His creep spread is not the best, not the worst either.
It's tough when you're taxed as hard as he has been in terms of trying to save your economy. He must have lost 40 or 50 workers, and you know he's trying his best to try and minimize that damage as well as he can, but Maru really just causing all kinds of problems, though. In the meantime, Solar, he has been able to macro up a lot better than he did in Game 2. And remember, in Game 2, he did put up quite a significant fight even after losing all of those drones, so not quite down and out in this one. I do like how he's playing this. He's already getting his 5th base up.
this. We actually have a Thor being made. Like, is he? I'm
Does
just
he still think Minas are in production?
I'm a little bit confused. 2 more turrets, 3 more turrets being made. Like, maybe he thinks that, well, now he sees all these Hydras here 100%. I guess we'll see how that goes, but I think Linkbane Hydra at this point against the comp that he's playing against, Solar is actually, I think he's all right.
Maybe. That is a lot of bio. This is a nearly max Terran army pushing in right now, and there are not a lot of Banelings left on the field. A few more finished morphing there in the back, but Maru feeling confident pushing all the way here on creep. Kind of working this choke point to his advantage right now. Marauders in the front, these Banelings, they cannot find any connection every time the Zerg tries to engage and get on top of those Marines and then have to pull back. He's leading so many units.
Yeah, those Marauders really doing a great job of tanking absolutely everything. Solar having a hard time actually breaking through, finally detonating some of the Banes on Marauders, but obviously not very cost efficient with that.
No, that's a very difficult angle for Solar to fight in with his army. I feel like he almost has to come in with a flank to make this work, but not really finding a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
Instead, Maru taking some of the most cost-efficient trades we've seen so far, and that's saying a lot considering the way the first TVZ went this series.
That's for sure. Okay, Maru backing up just for a moment here. Did a fantastic job with that initial push.
That was huge damage.
Yeah. He really grinded down a lot of what Solar had there. You can see Solar right now. He's a little bit light even on the Larva here, so.
11 Hydras, 17 Banes, and 50 Lings is not really what you want to deal with this kind of bio army. And right now, I mean, Maru, he can just kind of hang around the edges like this and continue to poke and prod at all these ramps.
But we are on Lurkers now. Okay, so this is a 5-base Zerg with Lurker.
Bit of an overextension there by Maru, gonna have to pull back.
You know what? If Solar plays this methodically, I think that's the most important part, because we don't actually have anti-lurker right now for Maru. He's starting to get into it, okay? He's getting his tank weapons, he's getting some ghosts into here as well. We see he's actually still making quite a few mines, but obviously Lurker's not going to care about those as much. So I think if Solar's careful about this, this can turn into a real decent game. Not that it's not already, but
it's going to be tough, though. Maru's put himself in a really good position here. Even the creep spread right now, this area right here highlighted by the observer is kind of the only spot really where Solar is any kind of forward creep. And that's going to make defending and potentially even taking new bases significantly more difficult for him. And Maru, he's so good at once he gets up to these kind of Terran armies that he's maxed with a lot of bio, some Widow Mines, some Ghost. He's so good at taking engagements that kind of just prevent the Zerg from moving onto the map and securing new bases. He might be able to choke Solar out here. It's tough to really play a methodical thing. I like this Nidus network we're seeing coming out of Solar, but unfortunately, maybe unbeknownst to him, Maru built like 1 million turrets back at home. I thought there was a Muta switch coming.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Might be tough to get some Niduses, but actually moving all the way here into the kind of critical point between the natural and the third base here for Maru.
Yeah, kind of a funny move. He will get in on top of that siege tank. It looks like the Banelings chasing after these ghosts, not getting the greatest connections, to be fair.
No.
And he did Solar lost a base to do this. This does not feel like this was a great move.
He did get the natural expansion, but at the same time, losing one of your fully saturated bases is tough. Not the biggest Terran army here, but there are a lot of Widow Mines behind it, and they get some pretty good hits there on the first batch of Marines. First batch of Zerglings, excuse me.
Yeah, the Marauders being really efficient there, tanking all of the Baneling hits as the Marines micro backwards.
But at the end of the day, Maru is back down to 160 supply.
Yeah, his economy's not all that large.
Solar's a little bit struggling on Larva right now, I think, since he's not able to remax on this bank. But he's putting a good show of it right now. If he can stabilize, it's tough though. That's a scary army coming out here from Terran.
Yeah, the Lurker's coming over though, getting into a position. Okay, some Linkbane going in with a weird little flank there, but everything getting sniped down as he kills off that morphing base once again.
There's nothing really to deal with. These ghosts, I feel like, these Lurkers kind of the saving grace right now, going to try and push back this Terran army to get one little connection. Or just chilling over there by the main. But, I don't know. This is kind of a tough position for Solar to really break out of with these snipes coming through. I mean, he doesn't have the Ling Bane Hydra count to really repel the Terran army. I feel like Maru can just kind of continue to poke and prod and snipe and get favorable trades here as we see the supply gap continue to widen.
Yeah, this is pretty tough right now. Like, Maru is mining really well out of 3 bases, and Solar is like on 2.5, and this is one of them right here. So he has to hold on. He has got to make this defense work, but the Ghost coming forward with those Marus. Okay, he has enough lurkers to push it back for now.
Yeah, the Bio Ball's a little bit smaller now to get whittled down a little bit by that Zerg army, but those Ghosts, man, they're so resilient. It's one Swarm Host was made during all of this.
The one dog whistle Swarm Host, man. That's
It's like the canary in the coal mine, man. You see that Swarm Host and you know the Zerg is panicking a little bit.
You can't possibly want that right now.
Love this Ghost play right now, just sniping lurkers and then picking them right back up.
This is such a funny looking little army. All those medevacs hurt, not lots of energy left.
Even the Liberator and the Widow Mines right now adding a lot to this. The Hydra count is pretty much non-existent. Yeah, not even a single Hydra on the field. Solar really scrapped trying to deal with this army, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to. This is kind of just overpowering right now.
Yeah.
This Terran army is so effective in small numbers against what Solar has.
And look, the Ghost, it's almost only Ghosts left over here. He's killed off a lot of the medevacs as well, but it's enough to break through this base, which is, you know, Solar got another base up during this, but you can't be losing bases right now because Maru is still on such a solid economy behind this.
Even sniping Hydralisks down, he has so much energy, and Ghosts, they're one of the most cost-efficient units in low numbers. They're just so difficult to deal with.
Single lurker coming over here for some harass.
Siege tank has
oh, that's hilarious. Brings his SCVs to fight.
Don't see SCVs taking down lurkers very often, but funny little skirmish over there. But I feel like right now Solar might be in a death spiral as Maru approaching max once again with a very high-tech and advanced Terran army. There's so many Ghosts, even Liberators getting mixed in now as we see them sieging up, and this is almost an unbreakable position here. That's going to be it. GG. Maru with a 3-1 victory over Solar. Just grinding him down slow and steady here in game number 4. Honestly, we've seen a masterclass of CVT from our Rogue, excuse me, there in game number 1. And then Maru right now, TVZ in match number 2. I'm excited for this finals.
Yeah. Well, he dominated Solar very similarly to how Rogue dominated Kier. So definitely we have the best 2 players going at it here in the finals coming up next. You know, it was nice to see Solar be able to take that one map, the counterattack play working very well for him, but you could just see that Maru is still a level above Solar.
Solar just not able to find a way to handle that kind of early harassment. Took so much damage early on. The Widow Mine drops both in game 2 and game 4. They did so much damage. Just really smart play out of Maru. You can see he's well prepared for TBC right now in this moment. And you've got to imagine that he has more builds ready in his back pocket for the finals.
Oh, for sure. Like, we haven't even seen him do proxy barracks yet, right? Like, that's something he's so well known for. But the thing is, Rogue and Maru are like 2 very old practice partners for each other. They were both on generic Green Wings for the longest time. And that's going to make it a bit more interesting because they both really know how each other wants to play. So I feel like this finals is going to have an immense amount of mind games. Like, I think the next, like, 15 minutes, because it's probably about 15 minutes till we're in map 1.
Right.
They're going to be really going over their head, like, how to trick each other. Because there was, like, how much can you really prep for this? You're prepping for your round of 4 opponent. Yeah, it's the same matchup, but everyone is stylistically different, and everyone is at different levels.
Yeah, we saw Kier try very different approaches to Terran versus Zerg than Maru did there in match number 2. And honestly, I feel like the way that Maru plays is going to be much more potent in the finals if we see another, like, 95 drone, high macro flooding link style. I'm not sure that works against Maru, who is so good in the mid game.
Yeah.
Because Maru, it feels like when he plays TBZ, if he decides to go macro the way that we saw him go in games I think 2 and 4 there against Solar. When he never lets up on the gas pedal. It goes from Widowmine harassment or Hellbat drops through some kind of early attack to dampen the Zerg economy into non-stop bio being rallied across the map. Anyway, with that, we're going to be going to break. When we get back, we'll be going into the finals. Don't go anywhere.